Well, thank you, Morgan, and thank you everyone for being in my not a webinar. Super awesome. My name is Jeroen. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm the founder of Growth Penguin, and I really created Growth Penguin because I wanted to show that A/B testing or coding A/B testing can be done by any marketer. And today I'm going to show you the power of JavaScript, and with 5 specific examples and just a little bit of my workflow, so you can apply it in your own workflow. And as Morgan already said, if you have any questions, just click the raise hand in the Q&A box. At the end of each example, we have a little bit of time to answer these questions. So let's get started. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Oh, I do see that the host disabled screen sharing, so you're going to have to enable that for me, Morgan.
I have to help you. Don't worry, there wasn't anything. We're good. Let me just take a look here. We're using our Zoom as our first time as a platform for this. Let's see here. Okay, so you should be good to go now. How's that work?
I think I'm sharing the screen. Can you see it?
Yes, I can. All right, take it away.
All right, cool. So we're going to start off with the first hack of 5, which is the most simplest of hacks, which is simply hiding an element with JavaScript. And the problem we're solving here is we want to test untested features on a website. And the solution is simply hiding these features and to see if the performance gets any better. So to start off with, I want to try hiding my picture or this image. And I'm just going to show you what happens when I enable this piece of code. And I save it and I enable the experiment. And when you see this image and I enable the experiment, and it will reload. There we go. We have hidden the image. And just to do a quick breakdown of how it works. This is a wrapper function that checks or waits for a specific element to load. So you could just copy paste this. I will also set this after the show as well. And this is going to be the same in every example. And what we do here is we have this wrapper, and then we call this wrapper with that specific element that I showed you before. And then we select the element with this line of code, and then we hide the element. So that's basically how it works. And we can also simply use this for any element that we want. So let's say, for example, we want to hide this logo. So I can quickly enable this part and disable this part. And here we do exactly the same. Only the thing that we changed is that we change the selector here, which is the class of the logo. So we save it, and then we refresh the page. And there we go. You can see that the logo is now hidden. And you might ask, do all these comments matter while you're testing while you're running scripts on a website? They don't for this example, because every time I save the page, it saves a minified version of this file without all the comments. So it's super fast, so it doesn't get any flickering. And this is basically the first hack. And I'd love to hear if there's any questions, Morgan.
I don't see any coming in through chat or through Q&A. I don't see any raised hands.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you have any, please feel free. You're welcome to jump in at any time to ask any questions. We don't want you to hold them to the end and then not be able to relate back to what Jeroen was talking about. Okay, so yeah, feel free to march on forward.
Yeah, awesome. And you can ask anything you want. Doesn't really matter. I'll try to see if I can come up with an answer for you. So let's move on to the second hack, which is basically moving elements, and it can be used for a lot of A/B tests. And the problem here, where we could use it, for example, is commitment and consistency in forms. So we know from Cialdini that you want to do the first little step first, so they want to finish what they have started. So the solution here would be for example, in a form to move the easiest forms to the top. And this is something you can do with this specific script. And the benefit is it just simply makes it easier for them to finish that first step. So what we're going to do here is we're going to move the penguins in the right order. You can see they're 2, 3, 1 right now. And we're going to use this piece of code to make sure that they are right. So I'm going to uncomment it, save it, and start the experiment. And here you can see that it will change to 1, 2, 3. So it's as easy as that. The same piece of code we used before that waits for an element before we run the code. And then we wait for one specific element here, which is the third penguin. So we want to make sure the penguins are there before we can actually select them.
Hey,
then we select the first. Yeah.
What Chrome extension are you using?
This extension is called TemperMonkey. It's a free extension. You can just download it. If you Google it and download it, it's free.
Okay.
And you can just, and in my course, it shows you how to connect this code to this extension.
Okay, perfect. And I had another question in here. How are you minifying the JS script?
This is also something which is in my course, but we in this code editor called Atom, you can, which is also free, you can install a free package which minifies these scripts whenever you save them. And in the course, I tell you how to set this up. So how you install a code editor and how you set it up. So every time you save, you get a minified file, and how you connect that to a local browser. So you could just run a bunch of A/B tests without actually putting anything online or using an A/B testing tool. So you can just copy paste it in a A/B testing tool if you're liking later.
Okay, so there's a few other questions here. People are getting a little more bold, which is great to see. Cool. So from Jude, do we have to always customize the observer function, or is it a one-size-fits-all for scripts?
You will definitely have to customize it because this really depends on when you run the code, and you want to control when you want to run the code. And when you select something on the bottom of the page, it's going to be less efficient. So it's definitely something you want to do. Yeah. But the course I'm talking about has like a whole chapter about selecting elements. So it should be no problem selecting the element you need for your specific observer function.
Okay, perfect. And the one other question here, could you explain the mutation, observe, and callback function a little more detailed?
Sure. I think so. You want this part of code a little bit more explained. Yes, I can. So what happens here? First, we declare the function. So we have the function observe and run here. And we say here in this function that we want to input a selector, which is an element on the page. And we want to run a callback, which is a specific different kind of function. And this could be the experiment, for example. So what happens is we create this observer object, and then we, while it is observing, so every time that the DOM tree or the web page, all the elements on the web page change, it checks. It checks, hey, is this specific element there? And if it is, it's going to run the code, and it's going to say stop it. It's going to say stop the observer. So that's how the mutation observer works. Yeah. Is that does that answer your question?
It's anonymous attendee, so I can't call them out, but
Okay.
I'll take it as done. And one other quick question: will all this code be available to us as well? Perhaps you can answer that. Is that something that they would need the recording for, or is that in the course? How does that work?
The specific examples I'm showing right now will be sent after this call to your email. So I have a package for this, and if you haven't received it today, you can just send me a message on LinkedIn. I'll make sure you get it. But if you want more pieces of code in more different kind of examples, those will be in the course.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. All right. So back to you.
Cool. So back to it, this specific piece of code where we want to move elements around. So what happens is we select penguin number 1, we select penguin number 3, and then we want to have 2 functions, and one moves stuff up and the other one moves stuff down. So what we say after we define this is something you can simply copy paste these functions, and we'll simply say, okay, I want to move penguin number 3 1 down. So we'll call it here number 3, we'll move it 1 down, and block 1. So penguin number 1 will move it 1 up. So that's when we get the new order. And I quickly want to show you with a small modification what I exactly mean. Because when I remove the code, you can see here again, it's 231. So I have a little bit of a different piece of code, which is a little bit simpler. And it's almost the same. And what it does here, it just selects the single penguin and moves it 1 up. So if I save this now, it should be 2, 1, 3. So quickly refreshing it, there we go, 2, 1, 3. And if I would call it again and save it, it will be 1, 2, 3. So that's basically hack number 2, where we move elements up and down. Any more questions, Morgan?
None here. I did see from before that, let's see here. Rahul, you had said that you had a question, but I didn't see it. Did you want to open your mic, or did you want to type it out? That's up to you. Just let me know, and it's available to you either way. Okay, but we'll continue until I hear something else.
Cool. Awesome. So let's already move to the third hack, which is basically removing currency symbols. You can see it here in the picture. We have 2 products, and we're removing the euro and the dollar symbols from it. So yeah, what this does is, if there's of course the problem of pricing. People feel a sort of pain when they see a price and when they have to pay something. And sometimes it can work to remove the currency symbols, to remove a little bit of that pain. It really depends on what works for your customers. And you can try removing it, try testing it, and it might be beneficial for your conversion rate. So let's remove these specific currency symbols. So I have 3 different ones. So we'll uncomment the code I've written, and we'll just see what happens. So you have these 3 where we'll remove the code. So enabling experiment 3 is looking at those currency symbols. Oh, it's scrolled down, but there you go. We removed all 3 currency symbols. And same thing here. We have the observer function that waits for these prices to be on the page. And then it says, okay, we're going to select all the prices that are here. Those prices have this specific class, and we're going to put it in a list, or we call it an array. And this list of prices we want to check and change. So I created a function here, which you can easily modify for any currency that you want or need, or maybe you want to replace something. I'll show that in a bit. So here we simply take a currency symbol and just replace it with nothing, with an empty string. So this creates that it's not there anymore. And of course, we need to call it with that list of prices in order to change it. So if I were to modify this, we can also make a small adjustment. So I have to comment this out real quick and save it. And what we do here is let's say I want to refresh it here. What we do here is we change all the currency symbols to euro symbols. So as you see before, there was a dollar symbol, there was a different symbol, and there was a euro symbol. And this one checks these 2 specific symbols and replaces them with the euro sign and a space. So there's a space between the price and the euro sign. So that's basically how the third hack works. So you can remove and replace currency symbols, but you can use this for any text, of course.
Mm-hmm. Great. So we have a few questions. One question here. Do you always use mutation observer on the script injection?
Do I always use mutation observer on the script injection? I do, yes, because unless you're server-side testing, but with client-side testing, you definitely want to use that, because otherwise you're going to run the code when the DOM finishes loading. So the page finishes loading, then it runs the code. It's always going to be a little bit more slower, and you're going to see flickering. And so the users are going to see the control and the variant. That's not what you want. So I use that, but there are exceptions where there's like a really big page with so many changes and it keeps changing, and then I might use a different function for that. Otherwise, it might crash. But that's rare. That's rare.
Okay. All right. There's another question here. Do you like hacking interfaces with JavaScript to make A/B tests, or like making the courses better?
Can you say again, Morgan?
I'm not sure about the how it's phrased here. Maybe Theo, if you want to come off mute, you just raise your hand. But you asked about hacking interfaces with JavaScript to make A/B tests or to make courses better. I don't know if courses is this particular. Let's see. I got Theo here. Theo,
hey.
go ahead.
Hello, Jeroen. How are you doing?
Hey, Theo. Theo is actually my colleague.
Oh, okay, excellent.
I have a question because at the moment Jeroen is really getting into making the courses, because everything he learned from making A/B tests, now he's making the courses and bringing it to other people. My question is, does he like making the A/B tests with JavaScript, or does he like making courses better than making the tests?
I think combining the both of them is pretty awesome. I mean, this is like a little passion of mine, just hacking websites with JavaScript. So, but I must say, definitely making courses about them and teaching people about this really makes it more interesting and really makes me put a lot of more time in it. So definitely, I enjoy both. Not either of them better.
Thank you, Jeroen, and I can tell you're always smiling when you're talking about it. So.
Well, that's it. He's super charismatic about it and very infectious about it. For someone who has very little technical knowledge, I'm always really super interested in the way that he explains things. So I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you, Jeroen.
Thanks, Theo.
Let's see here. So we have Rahul. Do you want to ask your question? No? Okay. All right, then. Let's carry on. I don't see anybody else with a raised hand, so we can go ahead. And there's no open questions.
Great. So the fourth hack I'm going to show you is a simple one. I'm going to show you how to create elements and add them on a page, and specifically unique selling points. So of course, most websites have these, and research shows that showing a list of benefits could be good for your conversion rate, but you don't know that. So of course, you obviously have to test them, which one works better and which one doesn't work better. And if you don't have them on the page right now, it might be a little bit harder. So here I show you how to create them. So let's simply add 3 unique selling points to the top of the page. So I'm going to uncomment this piece of code and quickly save it. And I'm going to add the pieces of code above this. So we set experiment 4 and we enable it. And here you can see that we have added 3 unique selling points. So basically how this works is that we save an array of unique selling points, which I have simply typed myself. So every part has a comma and these quotes, and we put it in an array. And then we want to also tell where we want to edit. So I've saved the location here, which is entry content. And I know that this is the top of the page, or that wraps my whole website. So it puts it on the top. And then, of course, we have a function which you can simply copy paste as well. And this takes the unique selling points and the location and creates a list from them. And it will insert this list on a specific part of the page. And then to put it on the website itself, we'll call the function with our USP and the desired location. And it should be on the web page. So to quickly show you how you can change that. So let's say we want to quickly comment this out. And let's say you want to put your own unique selling points in there to test. So I changed this code a little bit. Here we simply said, hello everyone, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. And when I save it and refresh the page, you can simply see that this gets added to the page. So you can simply add whatever you want. You could also add more if you want. It doesn't matter how many you want or how little you want, you can add a bunch of them. So that's basically the fourth hack.
Okay, so we've got an anonymous attendee here who's asking a question. It says they're asking some A/B testing tools, for example, Chameleon and Optimizely, have special functions which are quite similar to your mutation observer, like wait for the element to change functions. What is your opinion about these functions?
I think they're awesome. This basically means that you can, if it's a good function, that you can use that as well. It really depends on what tool you're using it. I know Convert actually uses the same function, that you can just import your code in there and it wraps the code in the script, and that'll work. But I'm not sure how the one in Chameleon works, for example. But if it works the same way, I think you can definitely use that as well, and just only use the smaller parts of the code or the experiment itself. But I like to use this because I can use this in my local A/B test development part. But you can definitely just keep it out if you already have it in your software. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. And anonymous attendee, if you have a follow-up question to that, please feel free to put it in. All right, take it away, Jeroen.
Cool. Then we'll have the last hack, which is what a lot of people find interesting. It's working with single page applications. And I have to quickly move this Zoom thing. And I have this part of my page is a single page application because it gets changed asynchronously. So it's hard to change these elements because they get loaded asynchronously. And usually with a normal experiment, you make the changes when a specific element is loaded and then you're done. But this keeps changing without the URL changing. So the benefit here is you can use this wrapper function. And the benefit here is you can use this flickerless wrapper function on SPAs, but you need to make a little bit of a change. But first, I want to show you. So if I change, it's now in the Netherlands. If I change it to a different country, you can see this part changes. So this is asynchronous. So if you want to change this, you'll need to change your approach. So that's exactly what I did here. And you have this part here, the PayPal part. And let's say we'll want to hide this for every country. But when they change it, it still needs to be hidden. So how do we go about doing that? So I have this code here, and I'm going to show you that it does not matter that with this function, you can still hide it. So enabling experiment 5, look at the PayPal function, and there we go, it's gone. But what if I want to change the country? Will it still be gone? Will it still keep changing? And there you go. It's still gone. It does not matter. You can still change it. And that's because I made one single change in this mutation observer script, which is removing the disconnect. So what this does normally is that normally it runs and then it checks a page. Okay, we found the element, run the experiment, and we're done. We don't have to check it anymore, and that'll save some performance. But in this case, you don't want to do that. You want to keep checking because it's going to keep changing, and you don't know when the page is finished loading. So we'll just remove the disconnect. And just like we did before with hiding elements, we'll select the PayPal block and we'll hide the PayPal block. So if we want to modify this to maybe hide the credit card function, for example. So let's say we'll comment this out. And we'll comment this in. And save it. And then refresh it. And then you should only see the PayPal function and not the credit card function anymore. And if we switch it so it asynchronously loads this part of the page to something different, you see it keeps changing. And you can use this on React pages or like Vue pages or parts where it just simply asynchronously loads. So this is basically the last hack.
We have a question here from Felipe. It says he's asking, Google Optimize has a mutation observer function too, but it fires the complete experiment on every DOM mutation. I like the mutation observer inside the JS injection approach to select a specific element mutation. Do you have any comments on that, Jeroen?
I didn't know that Google Optimize had this specific part as well, but what he says is that he likes this approach better, or do I understand it right?
Let me see here. Let's see. Has an observer function too, but fires the complete experiment on every DOM mutation. I like the mutation observer inside the JS injection approach to select a specific element mutation.
You're right. And what I'm doing here is definitely what you're saying. So we're checking the whole page for changes. And this can work for most pages, but I agree that when some of these pages have so many changing DOM elements, and then you will want to change this observer function to only check a specific block of a page, for example, like this part, for example, or this class, and you can check the whole page. Mm-hmm. And then when it has found that, you call a new observer function to check that small part of the page. But yeah, that would definitely be a better approach and more optimized.
Mm-hmm. And would you say that that's something that someone like for a marketer who's getting out of using a visual editor, that this is something they could do as well, or is that a little more advanced?
No, they can definitely do this as well.
Okay.
So it's basically just a little bit of a different template, and then this one, it'll involve selecting 2 elements instead of 1. So, but it's a little bit more complex, but it's definitely something you will be able to do. But I gotta be honest though, there's probably not a lot of websites where you'll have to do this to 100% optimized way, because as I show you on this website, it still works. And on most websites that I run tests, I did not have to do this. But if you want to get the best optimized approach, it's something you can look into, definitely. Because it has less impact on the page load. Yeah,
I see. Okay, great. Felipe says, nice. Okay,
cool.
So Rahul have made a comment that it impacts the performance of the website. I'm not sure which part of what you were saying that's referring to, but there you go.
It does. Like any piece of script will have an impact on the performance. And you actually will be able to measure this using the Chrome developer tools. And if you keep this page load effect under 1%, there should be no problem running a mutation observer.
Okay.
And if this was too big, then you would do what Felipe suggested, where you check a smaller part of the page so you can make that a little bit smaller. But definitely it will have a little bit of an effect, like every script does. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, great. Perfect. Jeroen, is there anything that you wanted to add to any of the comments or questions that you heard so far?
No, not particularly, but if you guys have any questions that I didn't answer well, you can definitely contact me, check me on LinkedIn, and we'll have a discussion about it.
Oh, we've got one more. It's a
Okay.
general question, I guess, because you're passionate about this. Max would like to know, besides your course, sorry, my English is not very good today. Besides your course, what are other additional resources you could recommend to learn JS?
Personally, the difference between my course and there's a lot of JavaScript courses on the market, of course, and
sure.
the difference is that mine really focuses on a practical approach for A/B testing itself. But I also learned JavaScript reading a book called Eloquent JavaScript, but it really focuses on the programming side and on the theory side, and it gets really complicated, and it's really not fun. It's really not catered towards marketers and towards what you want to approach as a CRO specialist. So there are not many alternatives that I know of. Not for A/B testing, anyways.
So what you're saying is that particular book was about as exciting as watching paint dry? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, if you enjoy like the theory and the slowness, and no, I think it has to be your piece of cake. I'm not saying it's bad, because it will also learn you how to use JavaScript.
For sure.
But just more general, more plain. It's like going to school for 4 years and you learn a lot of stuff and you're not sure where to apply it. And I wanted to create a course that you can actually just use right away.
Gotcha.
So that's why I made it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty. Let's see here. If you could actually pop the title of the book in the chat, that would be fantastic, in case anyone likes to really get dry stuff and dig into it. I think they would be happy to see that. So perfect. Excellent. Great. Okay. So that concludes the hacks for today. I believe, Jeroen, you want to do a quick summary of what we looked at today?
Yeah, sure. Well, basically, we took 5 hacks and we hit some elements. So to test what works better on the website, we moved some elements to get the easiest elements on the top. We removed some currency symbols to test if we removing the pane, if that's any better for the conversion rate. We added some unique selling points. We added 4, we added 3, we added different ones so you can add them on the page. And finally, of course, we worked with single page applications, changing this wrapper a little bit so you can use it on any website that you want. And I want to close it off by saying I hope you guys found this useful. This was my first show and tell as well, and I really love doing it. And yeah, check out my full course if you want to learn more. And thanks, Morgan, for hosting and helping me out. And of course, also Convert.
You're very welcome. So thank you for joining us today. We've had some really great questions. If you did want to get a recorded version of today's show and tell, all you need to do is actually sign up and give away your email address, in which case you will get that recording in about 24 hours. As we mentioned previously, Jeroen's course was conceived and birthed from passion and experience of really doing the practical side of things. And you could get 30% off for that and get 1 month of Convert experiences to really practice what you're learning. And I would just like to say that this is our first time hosting a show and tell on Zoom, and we're really, really happy to see you here. If you'd like to get in touch with either Jeroen or myself, you can do that. I have popped that in the chat box. I am open to any show and tell ideas, content, any feedback that you have, whether it's positive or constructive. Like I said, this is the first one in the series, so we really want to make content for you. You can feel free to reach out to me directly. If you want to chat further to Jeroen and connect with him, you can absolutely do that too. That is the best way to get in touch with you, correct?
Yeah, definitely. Just add me on LinkedIn, send me a message, and I love to talk with everyone about A/B testing.
Yeah, I think we're a small group, right? All right, perfect, everybody. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you may be, and we'll catch you next time.